Hello, everyone. Thanks for logging into this podcast. I have Abhishek Dwivedi here with me today. Abhishek is a co-founder of EVeez, which is a smart mobility solution that provides electric vehicles on subscription to enable last mile delivery. Abhishek, anything else to your intro? Anything you want to add before we get started with the questions?
Hello everyone, I'm Abhishek, and yes, EVeez is an endeavor that we have where we wish to enable co-mobility as a concept with a lot of with the entire generation. We are keeping it very simple. It's a subscription-based model for anyone who wants to use an electric two-wheeler across multiple cities.
Perfect. Awesome. Yeah. Yeah, we'll get into I think a lots to explore around EVs itself and how the solution, how you're enabling the solution of sorts, right? But I think the first thing we want to start is by your journey itself. And you have started up multiple times and you've been an entrepreneur for quite some time now, right? And I think you also started off at a time where entrepreneurship wasn't really the cool thing to do, as opposed to today, where it's like very famous and everyone wants to get into it. So the first thing we want to understand is how you sort of mustered up your own courage and you mustered the resources to start off, like with even with your first venture, and in two parts, right? The first is if you could hear about the story where you got your first big client or you managed to crack like a good business deal for yourself in your own ventures.
Okay, yeah, so I usually put it across as if I'm someone who's never got a job. So, but however, through my education in the National Institute of Design, the idea was very clear between some of us as batchmates, and we were very clear that we would want to start up with our own ventures. One of the primary things that believe in it is that was that we were trying to do things that no one had tried to achieve. And though that's a very common thing from people from a design college, where everyone is doing something unique and everyone is trying to do something different. But however, most of them were consultancy projects. And while we were very clear that we want to establish a big business, a full-fledged venture where there are factories or like, as young students you have, I want to build a factory or corporation, stuff like that. All those things definitely were part of the dream, and I'm pretty happy that they were there. That's why it was a little bit what we are able to achieve now. So that was constantly the case. As soon as I think I graduated, we always had smaller, as part of our course itself. We were given assignments. One of the best things that happened with us was that our assignments were real life.
Hmm.
We scored A+ in one of our course because we made 3 rupees as profit. So
Wow.
actually had to go and because like you had to actually people had to we had to call in like our project was something which is very popular now. I see is on craft tourism.
Hmm.
You know, an entire bunch of students from different institutions to a craft village and given them the entire experience of a craftsman space and that entire thing, which is what we've done. And now I often see on LinkedIn there are quite a few companies which are doing craft tourism. Uh, Having said that, so that was the project. However, we thought we made a 900 rupee profit, but then there were the costs and all those things. But somehow we just came through that. So I guess there was another batch friends who had made some 115 rupees as profit. So one good thing about the learning experience in NID was that we actually did a business
Hmm.
on a project basis as well. We realized the real world problems, and from there onwards, whatever small bit of projects that we started doing, we kept on the idea that it has to be profitable.
Hmm.
I guess one of my the first thing that I remember is that this was a classroom project that I had done with the Jail Bhajia Center in Ahmedabad. There is a chaat pakoda bhajia center, that's what they call it, which is run by the jail inmates.
Hmm.
Quite common, but famous over there. But how do you expand it to? We also set up a jail bhajia van where these inmates were sent all the way to secretariat to sell up there because they're quite famous over there.
Hmm.
During that time only, I had come up with this idea, and I guess this was my first post NID, one of the first business venture where we wanted to print T-shirts along with the inmates through
Hmm.
inmates. So giving them occupation in the while they're serving their term, as well as bringing out cool and trendy stuff. And I think that has constantly through all the ventures that I have been part of. that is one thing that has been constantly uh, being part of it is one ensuring better livelihood and dignified livelihood for whoever is the impact population, and ensuring that it is contemporary. I'm not going the typical NGO ways here, but rather give them contemporary products so the products sell well.
Hmm.
So this is what was happening. I was trying hand in certain things because of government issues and all. That project didn't take up very well. We kept on trying a few things. I guess the first big break, I would say, the first big check that I got, what was with when we were working as a studio, and while we had made a few films, we got a project for how would I say, redesigning or redefining the Municipal Solid Waste Management Manual 2012.
Hmm.
This was out of which the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan and your city rankings that you have, annual rankings that you get of this thing. Every city gets their rank. Indore has been coming first on that. That was all part of the Municipal Solid Waste Management Manual, and I guess it was revised in 2014. So what the difficulty is, it's a 2200 page document.
Hmm.
They had asked us, how can you make it like easily be understandable? And instead of going for a PPT presentation or something, we concise the entire information into a fast animation graphic film.
Hmm.
So the most part of the 2200 page was definitely details were there, but for a general understanding and also for understanding of acceptance of, see, you have corporators, you have safai karamchari, you have got a student who are part of this entire ICE. They were all part of it. So how do you make them all engaged and tell them the starting point of, oh, this is what the manual is all about, and we finished it around 9 minutes of sort of film. I think that was our first big break where we were able to understand our as in we as an enterprise that we have started, were able to understand our capability of ensuring of giving big information in a very easy form. So I guess that was the first project that we got. Was a
Perfect.
big.
Yeah. Okay. So the next question is one thing you mentioned in that journey that like really stuck out, right? Is right from that project itself, you had a big focus on profitability and building businesses that continue to thrive, right? And the next thing is sort of like in today's world, like how it's been the term cockroach strategy has been coined as a result of that. Businesses that focus on the fundamentals, continue building and continue generating like a good amount of profit while not going crazy with the growth and funding and these kind of aspects, right? So across all your ventures, how have you been able to maintain this while the startup ecosystem then boomed and then suddenly you saw so much money in the market and funding happening? How did you remain untouched by all that jazz and not worry too much about it and focus very simply on the core of a business? So what was your outlook towards that?
So I guess that we were able to save ourselves from the jazz because we knew it was jazz.
Mm,
This is what we realize in ourselves, and we believe in the core of a business is that if you make something, whatever service or product you make, it should be relevant to the market. If it is relevant to the market, you will have customers picking it up. So
mm,
that was something that was very clear with us. uh, I guess it was also something I would accept is that we were not very aware of the things. I guess we never. I guess we were some of the very few in our entire batch who stayed back in Ahmedabad rather than everyone started to come to Bangalore.
mm,
And the startup ecosystem definitely in Ahmedabad is very much product focused because
mm,
they are industrialists who, whenever they come for any kind of a talk or any kind of information that they give, they are constantly saying that your product should speak for itself. Always not that you do a lot of branding and everything around that, which was happening at, I'm sure, from 2012, 2014, 15, the world was seeing the growth of all these big brands coming out of the world, and just not India but across the globe.
yeah.
uh, I think I was fortunate enough, for being in Ahmedabad, we were fortunate enough to meet to all these big, business people, and say very old generation, from the Sarabhais to the Laljibhais, and people of who were the traditional Nagar Seths and the business tycoons. They
Mm,
had constantly said that your product should speak for itself. So
mm,
across various ventures that we have done, some have failed, some have not worked well as well. But the point is that our product was always accepted. So we were able to put in whatever our understanding of design thinking and insights was into the product rightly. That the first day every time we've pulled out, like how we say in general, when we started the day, we have had a sale.
Hmm.
So that's something that we have constantly been very lucky and been very clear in creating our MPV is basically that your day one you open it to platter to everyone, you should have a sale. So
Hmm.
actually till now we've been able to have that sort of a interest, and once money starts coming in because you're selling the product, your focus slowly has shifts to the idea that yeah, you should continue to sell the product.
Hmm. Got it. Perfect. Yeah. I think it's very refreshing to hear like this sort of a like journey or a story, like in days where suddenly there's so much controversy, there's so much talk going on about like valuations and not being unprofitable and all of those things. So the great that you shared, like the core of a business which needs to be focused on. Right. So we'll move a little ahead in the journey right now, right? And we'll come to EVs and how you started up, how you identified a gap, and especially thinking about electric vehicles in the form of a subscription service, right? So and this is more of a bit of your journey as well as some recommendations that you'd like to give. First, for young people out there who are looking to act on an idea and build something of their own, how do you approach market research in such a scenario? And how do you gain insights, such as how you came to the idea and you finally narrowed down that this is what you want to do? How do you approach that phase of identifying what problem is out there?
Uh, So, like I would say, give the example of EVs only. I guess my co-founder Gaurav had first time ridden these machines back in 2016, 17 in the Alps, and he came back to me, and because we have been working on various other projects, and he said, "Yeah, listen, this is a wonderful machine that we have seen.
Hmm.
Core of our business is the machine.
Hmm.
So this is where we started off. It's like, yeah, this is a great machine. How do we introduce it to Indians? And like, definitely they were yo bikes and other things. We knew that those machines are there, electric vehicles, things are happening. But then we said, okay, the machines are there. They were not so many manufacturers as they are today. Back in 2016, 17, or rather end of 2017, we couldn't find many people, but we found a few. Though, so the basic concern that we or the insight that we had is the pleasure of riding a new machine,
Hmm.
and that's what was the core that we said, because we started off with the tourism business and we were giving vehicles to people in the tourism industry. So and it was first city we know is Manali. So climbing up the hills of Manali, someone with a vehicle which is not geared, just with the battery power and you're pedaling it up, gave that smile to every single customer of ours, and we were very much excited that this machine is enhancing the experiences. So that's the first thing that we identified is that the machine can enhance the leisure experience. While the COVID struck everyone, we also had to pivot into the business of deliveries or urban setups. We pivoted over there, and then we from there we picked up the idea of two-wheelers for delivery services. While we were giving these vehicles to delivery representatives, we were very sure that our vehicles should look at par with whatever is a scooter like an Activa or a Jupiter or
Hmm.
any of these machines that are available in the market. We did not identify as ki, oh, delivery guy just has to do delivery, so let me bring him the least possible vehicle that is possible, and which is pretty evident right now. Also, you have a lot of places you'll find those all metal body vehicles that were there. I mean, which is like with a small seat or something.
Yeah.
So we were very sure that this vehicle at this pace, while it was able to enhance the leisure experience, just the aspiration value of these boys, this vehicle should be able to enhance that. So
Hmm.
that's where our focus was to how do you enhance the user's experience. The user's experience on just the looks of the vehicle was like, I'll tell you, like some of the times I've heard these boys go out to, their TLC and say, sir, ये देखिए इतनी smart गाड़ी लग रही है.
Hmm.
एकदम, and I guess that time Ntorq had come in, so it
Yeah.
was like very jazzy, very well designed machine, and they were like, "Sir, ये तो आपकी एकदम Ntorq जैसे लगती है." I know companies had shifted because the riders started saying कि we would not like to ride this, skeleton kind of a machine. We would want to like to ride a full-fledged machine. It's a very simple thing. That's not his only job.
Hmm.
Not what any delivery executive does all day. He
Hmm.
would want to go back home, then chill out with his friends. He would like want to go to a corner shop and have a chai. he would not want to use that machine. That's why they used to leave that machine and take something else and go home. But
Yeah.
this vehicle they were able to take back home.
Hmm.
That's one thing. Sunday morning, you want to take your wife, girlfriend, your family out on a market trip. You should be able to take someone along with you because you're paying with for all 30 days.
Hmm.
So that's something that while we ensure that it enhanced the experience, just on the this is just on the visual part.
Hmm.
And while the people were very happy that they would wanted to take these vehicles. Post that, the idea was that there was always a lot of concern, and back 3 years back, no one knew how many kilometers a vehicle will run, what will happen, this thing. While we were able to give on doorstep service, calls, good at our calls, doorstep service, and all those things that we were able to do, we were able to achieve better, customer satisfaction. They would always come to you, oh, I would want this vehicle. Like we said, we were not charging rentals. We were asking them for a subscription where the consumables were free. So
Hmm.
for my rider, if his brakes are going bad, he's not saving any money. He said, oh, it's going to be changed for free. Then we should give it to them. It will be changed for free, and I'm still saving. That avoided accidents for me.
Hmm.
So I am giving him a better experience. I'm constantly giving him that confidence that this is for you. And this is what we have maintained through this, that our agenda is to support the gig riders earn more.
Hmm.
So that is what we have ensured through all our market research, or for anyone who would, like, if you say for the young entrepreneurs, it's not about, oh, there's an EV boom, let me find something that I can do on the EV boom. Yes, there are a lot of experiences that you have around here. What you can always do is, whatever product or service you do, how do you enhance the customer experience?
Hmm.
That's the most important thing. That's something we've been able to find through in this business in particular, but on other businesses as well.
Hmm. Perfect. Yeah, I think very nicely put. Like such a level of customer obsession that needs to be there. Like that's extremely important, right? Yeah. So like sort of staying on the same topic, right? When you spoke about the pivot and how you then decided to enter into urban mobility, and then to enable this for the gig workers as well. In that decision-making process, I'm sure there are a lot of opportunities that you were analyzing, like specifically in terms of what you wanted to do. So, what would you say is like a good way to understand or to distinguish an opportunity gap where it exists from like something that doesn't exist, where let's say there's already a player that is doing extremely well, and there's no real market opportunity there, there's no real way of making money over there, right? As opposed to like an actual gap where you can build a profitable business. So how do you sort of understand what that line is? If you could share like a couple of tips.
So it's like gaps. So effectively, there are, in any business there are certain permanent pillars.
Hmm.
Like mobility is a permanent. Like, very simply, that we what we internally always discuss. Mobility is what makes us humans.
Hmm.
Okay, like you have a chance of going to USA and starting off something which not a lot of other, God's creature creators can do. And if you go to the past, only the people who would have traveled, well traveled, were always considered as people who would know more. So that's
Hmm.
what the first thing is. But now it has become the need of the hour as well. So picking up such a big chunk, so the idea is that whenever you're trying to like, people who are getting into food tech or something, like, food is most important necessity. Now, how do you ensure that you can reach out to people in the best manner to close this?
Hmm.
So in our that's what comes out in our space as well. When we picked up mobility as a service, or what we call EMAS, like electric mobility as a service, that was the first thing, that we'll give mobility as a solution, and then breaking it down to who are the people who are first adopters,
Hmm.
people who actually do not have mobility,
Hmm.
and importantly need it, because not now, but when we were studying, it was a very simple thing. If you need a sales job, you need to have a motorcycle,
Hmm.
and we come from an age where a lot of people did not also even have mobile phones. It was a very compulsory thing that you have to have either mobile phones and so there are a lot of people. Delivery, two-wheeler delivery has come in. The hyper-local thing has just come into the existence of the entire delivery cycle, and it has added, enhanced, because you can go deeper into the logistic chain. So when this has come in, a lot of people can join it, but do not have access to mobility. So
Hmm.
that those are our early adopters. So big chunk, and if you pick up the early adopter, this will grow. We are
Hmm.
also multiple stages. There are a lot of other kind of segments that we can cater to and which we are trying to cater to. But there is even more. So it can go geographically also. It will be huge. It will be amount and time of usage of the mobility solutions also. There are people who just want it for 2 hours. There are people who just want it for 24 hours. People might use it first after, like most of the office goers just need it while going to the office and while coming back from the office. But those are the spaces. So how slowly we will be graduating and growing up into that space key, our machines are able to serve all people. And then how much extra can I get from that machine while someone is still has the access of the machine?
Hmm. Perfect. Yeah, I think that answers it very well. Right. Let's come to your client base now. Like we've been able to crack deals with like Flipkart, Zomato, Zepto, list goes on, like all these clients, right? And just funnily enough, by the way, just yesterday when I was taking a walk outside, an EVeez just pulled up right in front of me, a delivery executive delivering to one of the houses in my building. Very pleasantly surprised to see that as well. So in terms of like your sales framework and cracking or acquiring these clients and get them as a customers, right? So what was the story of cracking the first client, in the sense, the first big client that really transformed things? And later on, we'll talk about like what is then your process of working with for further customer acquisition, working with other brands, and how do you sort of automate that process in a way to get more customers in that way. So we'll talk about the first client that you were able to grab.
Our first client wasn't a big client. So, and which has been our core is that like not one of the bigger names, but definitely a big client, but not one of the bigger names. It's a small dairy in Hyderabad, Fortune Dairy, and they and this is something that I've always felt is that you get a lot of support being a startup from a small company as compared to a big company. They have their own challenges. So that was our first deal where we felt very happy, and that customer has been with us for almost 3 years, 1 month now. So they were the yeah. So customer has constantly been with us, and while everything has gone great, and the machines are also there, the same machines are working with them. So going forward to while we were discussing with a lot of bigger clients, I guess the fewer things that I think we were able to pitch in, and I guess somewhere in our communication that confidence came into the picture is that. While once we were fairly priced, we because our business model runs on the number of years the vehicle will run, not number of times a vehicle is used. In a, so we were always at a better pricing to the customers. The kind of like so this is still not an AMC, but act like an AMC where they don't have a lot of issues, and when our service is on their doorstep, this is a proposition that no one was offering at that point in time. So that kept, put us apart. And there were a lot of deliberation in the first few rounds. And a lot of people had various questions. How will it run? We would just say, run it for a month, and you will. If you really don't get what you were expecting, we would I mean, that's what the flexibility we also provided. Our terms were not, oh, you use it for a month. If you don't like it, return it to me. That was for because again I'm not nothing against the corporation, but they have they have a whole entire procurement system. They have to get approvals from this, that, and when there was somehow there was no liability lying on them. It was like everything will be taken care of. It has to go off. It'll go off in a month. I think our best reason for being picked up earlier by all these companies was that we did not hang them with like a commitment or a this thing. I think first initial months it was for the companies it's 3 months, and I think for an individual it's hardly a month. Within a month, if you don't like it, you can return it to us.
Got it. Perfect. Yeah. Yeah, so the next thing is I wanted to focus on that itself, right? With the business such as yours, which is like operationally intensive in a way, right? And a lot of physical infrastructure that is involved here as opposed to like, let's say, traditional tech business. But you are growing geographically as well, right? So you are present in like 6 major locations, I think, when we did our research. So if we could talk a little bit about how do you manage to extrapolate growth? So sort of replicating the results in one way where you saw results, but then to a new city, and it comes with its own set of challenges as well, right? So how have you been able to manage overall the growth phase in adding more vehicles to the fleet and getting more customers on ground as well?
I guess the simple thing is our in that business is very simple. The most important, I mean, this is very important, but I think this is what we have been able to achieve through our previous experiences, that our business model is very simple. And to run that business, you don't need a lot of effort to set up a new space or something.
Mm.
That's what we have been able to kind of capsulate as an idea, is that okay, to start set up a city, I need x number of, this is the area that I need, these are the machines that I need, this is my growth plan for every city, these are the kind of partners that I need, these are kind of manpower I need, this is the kind of equipment I need. It's all there. I have read, it's like a kind of a ready kit.
Mm.
And also, this ready kit is also, like, say, for example, of Delhi NCR. This ready kit is also replicated within the city. So from the one hub in Gurgaon, the rest three hubs are independent of this hub.
Mm.
So we are instead of the hub and spoke model, we are working on an island model. So
Mm.
each of the hubs are independent of the every other hub, reporting to a central office, but each of the hubs. So every time I start up a new hub, that hub takes up care of any of the customers which are around that space. So all the operations are over there, and then they start to grow up as the next set of engagements or new customers that are joined in that space. So
Mm.
that goes for Delhi. When we were in South Delhi, now we're in West Delhi. Then that's when we were in Noida. Then we moved to Ghaziabad. So if I move from Delhi, say Delhi NCR to Chandigarh, or Delhi within Delhi NCR, my model is the same.
Mm.
Somewhere we've been able to develop a kit, and that's why all of these are working as independent unit, reporting into the same structure rather than hub and spoke where there is a constant up and down flow of information. It's they all work as an independent unit, and
Mm.
that's why I think we've been lucky enough to handle operations, because the operation complications only remain in that one particular
Mm.
space, and they are not transferred to any other space.
Got it. Perfect. Yeah. Yeah, and then perfectly brings me to the next question as well, right, which is in like when you're dealing with vehicles and with the number of bikes that you have on ground and that are working right now, quality and maintenance becomes a very important aspect as well, right? Especially yes, you are able to now localize it and to take care of it within. But what are some other ways in which both on the technology side and on the people and processes side that you have sort of set in place to ensure that like maintenance is happening in the best way possible and quality checks are happening in the best way possible?
Okay. So the benefit that we have is that we have a electric vehicles with a number of components that are less. So that saves me a bit of time on servicing all the components.
Mm.
There is no doubt that there is no service required. There is more service required, because while there are certain parts that wear out more in a ICE engine, there are certain parts that wear out most in a electric vehicle engine as well. What happens over here is that so one is I have set up a process which is about how to check a vehicle. So I
Mm.
have a 20 pointer list. That's across the country. Everyone has to go through that 20 pointer list. So
Mm.
that's where so any hub, anyone new or any hub or any machine that has to go into it gets to know this. Second, it was a crude thing, but we've added technology to it. In a crude manner, when we had a very few vehicles, every vehicle was on an Excel sheet, ensured that we service a vehicle every month.
Mm.
Now move to an app-based system when an IoT starts a red flag, okay, last service due, bring it to hub, and all those things are coming. But the basic idea is every machine has to be seen once in a month.
Mm.
So that's a full body checkup that we do once in a month. So that gives us an advantage, is that we are able to check the vehicle, and if there are any preventive maintenance that has to be done, and that has been the key for us, is that we have been able to do preventive maintenance.
Mm.
With now technology coming in, we get a little more information about the battery, we get a little more information about the stress on the vehicle, the motor in the vehicle, and those kind of controlling. We are working on the diagnostic part there, where such a diagnostic can be done remotely. We've not been able to do it, but yeah, we've been done first level tests and beta tests of these kind of things. So we'll be able to, in coming future, we'll be able to diagnose a lot of vehicles on a remote basis as well. So that's where technology comes in.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. Yeah, I think technology was very nicely covered. But to sort of like tie a few of these things together, right? One is one of the things that happens obviously with growth and with continuing to expand is the team also needs to grow accordingly, right? And you probably had to do get in a lot of people to do this, not just from the point of view of on the product side or on the technology side, that the more you need more brains to work on it, but also on ground probably for working with the partners on ground, right, on the quality and maintenance side. So what has been like a formula that you used to expand teams and but keeping the stability in place and ensuring operations are happening and yet expanding it and bringing in more people? So what has that journey been like?
So it's a very block system. So when you come in, you are a block which is sort of serving say 5 vehicles. You get trained. Finish your 1 week of apprentice. You get to know, and then you start your first week machine. There is end to end. You finish up a machine, then you get a block where you are doing 5 machines a day. Then you get a block where you get 10 machines a day. So you are allocated number of machines, and slowly when you reach to a number of 50 or 100, there will be two people who will again start with their 5 machines. So your 100 will, so your graduation is that from 100 you're not taking care of 120 or 130 or 200, and that will become 300 vehicles under you.
Mm.
And then there will be another three people who will again join in, two people under these guys. So
Mm.
that's so sort of kind of the MLM marketing system wherein you constantly grow. So number of machines I'm responsible for
Mm.
grow, and
Mm.
that's also and ensure my career growth. Yet on day one, if I'm handling 5 vehicles, on end of 3 years, I'm handling 500 or 600 vehicles,
Mm.
and there is a team which is reporting to me, which is again has a growth for all of them. It's not that gives for all their life they'll remain a technician.
Mm.
So if I, based on my caliber, if I'm able to achieve smooth maintenance, so maintenance they don't have to do work on 50 vehicles, but they're responsible for 50 vehicles. So whatever number of vehicles are coming to me, once I reach that threshold, once I reach that bonus, I'll get a promotion, and
Mm.
I'll get someone whom I have to, sort of nourish and under my own mentor, someone under me. These two people, they'll so this guy will see ki this man, I mean, whoever is mentoring us started off like us and has grown the stature. So if
Mm.
he grows in the stature, then he will be like, okay, tomorrow if I'm able to manage 100 vehicles in whichever location, I'll also have a chance of becoming a manager. So that's the most important thing I think on the human resource part of it, that we've been able to, and that growth story is with us. There, the people who joined us as technicians are now managers at an entire city level
Mm.
and handling more than 1,000 vehicles, and with a team along with them, with the
Mm.
technology and all those things along with them, and they're able to. So it's gone very very. We've so I think we've been able to handle most of our challenges in a very basic manner.
Mm.
I give him an experience, and then I give him, also one, I give him an experience. Number two is I give him a hope to grow. So if
Mm.
anyone gets a hope to grow, that I can grow with this particular person, I mean this particular company, they'll stick to it.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, I think very nice way of looking at it. And it's sort of like the first principles thinking in a way, identifying like what the core is like, both in terms of and came across when you're talking about the product also, like how you identified it, but also on the people side, you're maintaining the same principles, right? On of very simple fundamentals that enable you to grow, enable people to grow as well along with that. Yeah, that's very nice. That's a very good point that you covered. Okay, so the next thing is more in terms of handling competition, right? Because especially right now, you are up against like quite a few players in the market who are all vying for market share with each other, and yet you've been able to grow rapidly as well. So when it comes to tackling competition very specifically, what have you done very specifically in terms of first optimizing investments, right? Because your business is capital heavy and requires like a smart investments to be made at the right times. So how have you stood out in terms of that? And the second thing is in terms of territorial dominance and how do you look at it? Because and this is a sort of a business where like a local stronghold over an area and all of those dynamics really come into play, right? So how have you sort of gone about managing that? First, we'll talk about optimizing investments from a financial standpoint.
So I think we've been very consistent in the kind of product that we buy. So we've not gone, haywire and what kind of. Definitely, we've done experiments. Definitely, we've bought some, for test machines and all. But by and large, most of our fleet looks like. And one of the key aspects of ensuring that sort of a thing is so our focus is more than how much I buy the machine for, is how much I can maintain the machine for.
Hmm.
And that's where our investments have been focused on. The way we've been able to maintain that, the maintenance cost has always been down, and there are interchangeable parts between these products from different manufacturers and all. So having that sort of a control gave the investors also, I mean, whoever has been investing, the confidence that we know exactly what we are buying,
Hmm.
and ensuring that if the parts are interchangeable, in going further down, I mean, in the longer run, I'll always be able to get a better price
Hmm.
of the. Uh, so that's one. I think that's where we've been able to get ourselves into a unique proposition with all of our investors. That this is what we know more about a machine, and like most of the things are within a certain range. It does not cross that range. We don't buy very expensive machines. We don't buy very cheap machines. We've
Hmm.
been constant on the kind of approvals, things that you need. We've also been able to tell our manufacturers that so this, which eventually comes to the cost part of the machine, is that there are certain parts in the machine that we do not need, and
Hmm.
you can save your cost.
Hmm.
Actually save your cost. You don't have to send those kind of things and save certain amount. And yeah, we've been able to play in quantums, and that definitely helps us in both ways, in the finances, because we are buying more money from, I mean, taking more money from them, and we're buying more products.
Hmm.
That has been, I think, the core key in our financial journey. The second part, as you said, like how do you handle the competition, is plain and simple. We have partnerships.
Hmm.
It's the same pie. I cannot eat all of it until I know that, or anyone who's in a business knows that. Is not, I mean, especially in the startups ecosystem that you are in, you cannot do everything.
Hmm.
So the best part is having confidence in your partners, and your partners having confidence in you, that you are not going to, learn everything from them and start something else. Like few days ago, I was talking with them, having words with our IoT partner.
Hmm.
We have told him very clearly, you give us the best rates. I'm competing against the rates against everyone in the market. I would definitely want you to give me the best pricing. However, once you've done that, and once we are in copy with, I'm not going 10 places, or I'm not asking someone to build this device for me,
Hmm.
or build this SaaS platform for me, or because you can do it cheaper, or I'll try and get this. They are a startup. They're not getting into my business. I'm not getting into their business. So that's where it works best for all of us. That we know this is the only pie of a machine on a subscription spaces, and this is where the money will come in, and this will be equally distributed and well distributed. No
Hmm.
one is making a loss over here, and no one is also trying to get into each other's territory.
Hmm.
So then it comes as a EVs as a product is actually 4 5 companies putting their product together in the market to the consumer, and that is where also for us, that's also the benefit for our consumers has also been. And we actually stand in between somewhere where the consumer has problems with which battery to buy, which vehicle to buy, which charger to buy, swap loom, fast charge loom, which finance scheme to buy, all those things. And where the manufacturer is like, should I give a 20 kilowatt battery, I mean 20 battery or 30 battery, or should I use fast charging, slow charging, delivery specific vehicle, commuter specific vehicle, slow speed, high speed. We save them all of it, because we've decided that this is the kind of product that will roll well. So we'll procure that. And whatever kind of products we have a market for it. And for the right market, we are the people where they can come in. So it's not that EVs is sort of one single player which is trying to solve everything or trying to business. Yes, we're trying to give a consolidated solution, but it's a partnership and
Hmm.
consortium of various small agencies who have come together and to offer the
Hmm.
thing. That's really worked well for us in handling the competition.
Mm, got it. Perfect. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think now that you put it out, I would want to touch upon this as well. It's the number of partnerships that you have to deal with, right from like the manufacturing part to right till the delivery, and working with brands to ensure that like their delivery executives, for example, are using the vehicles, right? Any other thing that has worked really well for you in establishing trust or in building this sort of a relationship? Is it very simply, like you said, about setting expectations right and ensuring that you both know exactly what to expect while not crossing into each other, or is there anything else that you did that you think you did right in establishing these good solid connections that continue to work for you?
I guess since we are not a 3PL or a delivery company. We are
Hmm.
a mobility company, and that gives so whoever is working for us, say for example, if I take someone like works for an X brand, from me he only gets a vehicle,
Hmm.
and he has a choice to shift to the Y brand during peak hours of Y brand, and then shift to Z brand if it is a peak hour for Z brand. He gets, so that's what we always say, the three F's. The first, the freedom to work anywhere at any given point in time. That's the core definition of gig workers. Financial support. Someone can come and join us as low as 1100 rupees and take up a vehicle and start earning 500 rupees or at least 400 rupees the same evening. So that's kind of a free financial freedom that we give. A lot of these people are, not credit worthy. They are
Hmm.
dark zones in multiple cities where you don't get credit. Don't have more documents than an Aadhaar card. How do
Hmm.
you start earning money?
Yeah.
And last point is flexibility. Like a lot of people, like it was harvest season a month and a half ago. A lot of boys would come and say, "Yeah, I'm depositing this vehicle. I'll come back after 2 weeks because गांव में कटाई हो रही है, so I'll be able to earn more there because obviously because you work almost 18 hours and you earn more because it's time bound. So
Yeah.
you pay." So they would come and they would not even ask for the security deposit back from us. They said,
Hmm.
"Ma'am, आप security deposit रखो, but whenever I come, I'll call you 2 days in advance. Whenever the day I reach, I want a vehicle."
Hmm.
So for them, that's sort of a space that we've been able to establish. Um and the fact that we are just a mobility company, we are not controlling what you do, where do you go, what kind of work you do, gives us an edge over anybody else.
Hmm.
And it's a very simple thing. I'm giving him a machine so that he can earn more.
Hmm.
I'm not telling him to work more so that I can earn more. I'm on a fixed thing. I'm making my benefits better. I'm setting up the processes right. He, if he doesn't feel on a, on a chutti day to work, he should not lose out on his earning because of me. That sort of a thing. So
Hmm.
that's why we are. So that's why we have, I think, held ourselves to be a mobility company only and a vehicle provider, not try to get into any other benefits that can come to us, like become a 3PL partner or something like that.
Hmm. Perfect. Perfect. Yeah. Just give me 1 second. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So the next thing we want to understand, sort of moving away from, I think, operations and like that side of things. I want to focus on your marketing a little bit, because we've seen that you do it in a very good way of very targeted, very specific, any promotional activities, any marketing activities, right? While not doing any random thing or just doing any high budget advertising for that matter, right? So I just want to hear from you as to what your models are or what kind of formula you have in terms of marketing, both when you talk about online, in terms of ads or anything that you run, and also offline, on ground, anything that you do. We'll start with online and strategies there.
Is zero at it at both the spaces. Our CAC is zero.
Okay.
It's a fact. We haven't put up an ad at all
Hmm.
at any of this thing. I think the only paid post that we have would be for hiring.
Hmm.
Apart from that, I don't think we have put up any ads at any spaces, online or offline. Uh, or yeah, I think the most offline activity would have been that our own team doing BTLs at certain spaces. That's max that we would have done. That which would be like for a year, the budgets would be less than few thousand rupees.
Hmm.
So that hasn't happened. However, I think what has really worked for us is that one, our machines are on the street and they are doing the promotions for us. So as you could identify this in an EVeez machine, that color thing has helped for us.
Yeah.
And I think mostly it's the word of mouth between the riders that when they leave the competition, where do they go?
Hmm.
The customers leave the competition, where do they go? And once they leave it, they come to us and then they've been with us. So like for 2 years, the customers who have come to us and have stayed with, some of them hardly have one vehicle. And also when I said ki the mobility as a solution is also that when I'm not just looking at the delivery letter, one of our customer uses it for his grocery delivery shop, but he also has taken one vehicle for his own personal driver.
Mm.
So we have that kind of a paradigm as well available, that the machine can be taken by anything. Dock workers take our machines.
Mm.
The vehicles are available for everyone. So that's why we are not held ourselves. But yeah, if you say ask about the marketing campaign, uh, I think it's just this being strategically put with the product that we have in the market. We've been able to garner more and more interest. Uh, yes, an extra effort on the service part is where all these big partners that we have always keep on sending us more and more queries and requirement for machines, and they keep on increasing every day. So that's where I think the extra effort that we're putting on the service part actually works as a marketing tool for us.
Mm. Yeah. Interesting that you mentioned referrals, right? To ensure that these someone who's using it is talking to their friends, like their other delivery partners, let's say, who are all doing the business together, right? Or they're all friends who know each other from the business. Anything specific you did in terms of ensuring that they talk? As in, was it encouraged that okay, you can talk about it, like if not, even if not a discount, like just share this with your friends or anything, or was it a fully organic thing where they recommended it on their own accord?
We have never given a discount till date. So
Okay.
yeah, so, yes, I think for going forward we might have to, but yeah, we haven't been able to, haven't needed to. But yes, it just happened that they would come, and when they would see the service है कि they would call us saying कि हमारा एक भाई है गांव से आ रहा है, उसके लिए हम दे सकते हैं क्या, मेरा दोस्त है उसके लिए हम कर सकते हैं, हम तीन दोस्त एक साथ आ रहे हैं, आप हमें एक साथ दे देंगे क्या.
Mm.
So those things have happened with us.
Mm.
Not yet we've asked any one of them. Yes, we've asked for reviews,
Mm.
and has worked for us, but that's it. I mean, we've been always been telling them, because they come to us and they say, we get this service, like this fellow who went home and all, he came up with someone कि मैडम हम अपने भाई को भी ला रहे हैं, उसको भी कर सकते हैं क्या.
Mm.
So that is the thing that they get कि okay, I can come to this big city and start earning from day 2, day 3. So that's the way it has been. Yeah,
Mm.
actually, we haven't done any push promotion of ours.
Brilliant, brilliant. Yeah, I think that so. Yeah, I mean it's great. I think it's a true story of just like the product leading growth, right? Everywhere, it's just such a great product that you don't necessarily then have to go overboard with your marketing or anything. Yeah, I think glad that you shared that. We'll talk a little bit about customer success. So it's come up multiple times, and we sort of touched upon the topic, right? But to be very specific, and this question also came to my mind because how you spoke about the different use cases that your customers have and they bring in front of you, right? And you say that you enable all of these things, but now there's also probably a level of defining expectations with them and like drawing a line somewhere, knowing that okay, you can use it for these things, and as long as it's within reason, like it's great, you can use for whatever purpose. But you'd have to maybe like stretch that a little, like understand that properly and convey that, communicate that very well. So what has been like your process for defining these expectations with these customers? That's one part. And second thing is, in terms of a bit of automation for this process. So how have you brought about ways in which these queries that are coming in, you find a way to probably like resolve it? Like, are there people who are dedicatedly answering queries on your behalf? Do you have a customer's support team in that sense? So first we'll talk about defining expectations with customers.
So I guess I'll go back to the same thing that we had done, and is like when we were working on the product, and when we were offering on the product, is something as simple as I'm not going to tell you. I mean, what we promote is on our website as well is not about a brand.
Mm.
So if I have a plan which gives you 60 kilometers a day, and which is a defined definition of the battery pack that plan will have.
Mm.
The machine can be anything. So
Mm.
that is where sometimes our customers come back and say, we also know there are certain machines which perform better, there are certain machines which do not perform at par with this. But they do qualify the minimum threshold. If they do not qualify, we start repairing the machine. But if they do qualify the minimum threshold and what has been promised, then we are very specific with our customers with that, we are not selling you any specific brand.
Mm.
We are brand agnostic for the subscription. All the machines can be, can come from any brand. Uh, Second thing is like every time everyone like when because we are buying new vehicles every month, half of the people get new vehicles, or most of the people get new vehicles every month. But however, we have also set up when we say that the subscription is on us. If there is a tire which gets worn out, we're going to change it for free. Then if a customer is getting a used vehicle also, does not have that worry ki, oh, when this will wear off, I'll have to pay for it.
Mm.
If we have set that expectation right, so the customers are okay to take up a used vehicle as well, because they know all these consumables which are there will be changed for free. So if my brakes go back even after 5 days, if they see that the brakes have gone back, they'll change it for free. So then for them, it is not a sort of a worry area that they have to ensure that they've got the best vehicle. So the PDI process is much more easier for them to understand. Okay, if there is something which is broken, it's mentioned. Okay, if there's a lack of supply of a plastic part or something, if there is a crack or something, we say that there is a crack or something or something.
Mm.
We in servicing, I think we also have provided refurbished parts to, especially to the gig workers, because
Mm.
I know certain parts are very expensive, and with a small bit of a refurbishment, they can be utilized for a longer run, and I can give them at a very cheaper price.
Mm.
Why not do that for them? Why to make, I'm not here to sell space.
Mm.
I'm not in that business. Where I'm in the business is that ensuring that he comes back, and if there is a breakage or something, he reports to me. He doesn't leave the vehicle on the ground and
Mm.
doesn't run away. He brings it back because he knows if there is an accident happened or insurance has happened, immediately he'll click a picture, he'll send it across to me, and he says, "Sir, please take care of this. This is what all you want me to do. I'll answer all the questions," because they know if they have reported it rightly, well, I'm going to give him a replacement vehicle.
Yeah.
So that sort of a confidence is that I'm not going to juice out all the money from him. And we inform them, we're trying maximum that can be, but then you have made got an interaction. You all also have to bear something. They
Yeah.
know that not all of that burden will come onto them.
Yeah.
So that sort of like you said, the engagement with the insurance agency, ensuring that all our insurances are done. I have a team which is taking care of that.
Mm.
That person might not have that bandwidth, but I have that bandwidth. So
Mm.
those sort of things. Um, and what's the second part? I'm sorry, just
Automating the process of handling queries and all that.
yes. So we are in process of that. We haven't also. So this is where there's a bit of a difficult challenge that we have is that the people that we are working with are not used to this kind of automated solution.
Mm.
A gig worker gets an automated call, they don't really aren't very happy to clicking,
Mm.
ek dabaएं, do dabaएं, isn't what they would want to talk to someone. They'll keep calling till they get to talk to someone. So that is something that we are trying to ensure that system, how much easy we can make it for them. So on the app they can click up the right options. These boys are quick learners, but
Mm.
when they want to talk, they want to talk to someone.
Mm.
So on the app, they can actually give the right query, so that when the technician goes to solve them or they come in, we exactly know what kind of a problem is coming to us. So in the morning itself, we know that these kind of spare parts are required because this guy is coming with this sort of a problem.
Yeah, yeah, perfect. Yeah, I think that's uh, very empathetically understanding like what the pain points of the customer are and providing a solution to that line. It's a very good point that you mentioned. Okay, so we have a like final couple of questions, like sort of on a much lighter note as well, right? And the first thing is obviously with the kind of business that you have and the kind of solutions you're enabling, like you said, right? People who really want to get into the business, they don't have the resources, they cannot buy the vehicle at the moment, but still obviously would want to earn money and make a living for themselves. So in the whole process of providing these mobility solutions, I'm sure there have been a lot of success stories and very heartwarming stories as well, I guess, in a way that people have come back to you and told you that how what you've done has significantly impacted them, right? So if you could hear a couple of these stories from you. First off, let's say an individual who came back and who used your service on ground and got benefited from it. And second is if you could talk about a customer or like a client who had like a great experience and they could significantly grow their business as a result of this. So first, let's talk about the individual.
So I guess there are many, like I was mentioning about this gentleman who had come in and said, I think a lot of it happened during the second wave of COVID, and because by that time a lot of people had started losing jobs
Mm.
in different sectors. And this was this parent who came in with a young graduate student who wanted to work for one of the food delivery apps.
Mm.
And he because I was because at that point in time we were also very small, and I got engaged into them, and I asked him, he's like, we don't have anything else to, like, there's no monetary source that we have at this point in time, and I don't even have enough money because we have to sell our vehicles, our scooters and all, to get a daily thing coming in. And that father-son duo started working with this delivery app, and they were very happy because they didn't have to pay a lot of money, and they kept on doing the work. Uh, for us, it was very nice that the boy got a job, a regular job, and after 4 or 5 months he came back to us and said, sir, I would want to stop it. And after 2 months he said, sir, we would want to stop it for my father because I think I'm getting fairly enough paid that I can take care of my parents. He also doesn't have to work. And they came back and returned the vehicles. I think it is nothing great about the success, but the kind of space that we were in, uh, there, these this kind of if this kind of service is available, they had an option to make through those 6 months.
Yeah.
And then the flexibility that we have is that they don't have to keep the vehicle, they can return it. Now I'm sure this fellow is doing great. It's 2 years, he might be, got promoted and everything. Similarly for women riders, so no one expects them to ride a vehicle. So delivery is a domain where hardly, you would find women. But these are desperate measures that sometimes they have to take. They don't have a license. No one's taking them to get the license. So we have a partner in Delhi, that is Azad Foundation, which works with us and which trains all these women to how to ride a vehicle so that they can go and apply for a license, learner's license, and get a license, and then can go. I guess one of the most important thing that because we don't have a dockless system, the person has to take the vehicle back to their home. And the way this lady would tell that when she would walk into, so these are narrow lanes of Delhi, she's coming from a humble space, where she would say that when I would walk in, I'm the only person who has a two-wheeler in my entire lane. So she has a proud state where, whatever work she does, she's got a two-wheeler. And while we give this all flexibility and no tension, no insurance, nothing you have, having a machine also adds to your stature. I mean, it's definitely something which is aspirational. So when she would come to us and she has graduated to become a trainer, and now she's training other women as well. But she's like, and she's continued with that scooter. It's more than 2.5 years. She's continuing with that machine and maintaining it very well. But the thing is, like she said, the first day I went into and everyone said, "Arey, you work in a place where tumhe scooter mila hai." So that really, her personal stature in her family, her space, and in the lane, okay, like she's doing something better than a lot of us are doing. So yes, definitely that worked well. I mean, they're kind of a few anecdotes that keep coming in from various regions, and like. This particular shop friend, I mean, we've become friends with client. He started off with these two, fruit and grocery stores in Delhi. Uh, and when the second wave hit, because at that time retail business was growing, at a single shot he picked up 20 vehicles. He's like, Abhishek, I'm going to open up 5 more stores, and then I need those many machines and all. We gave them the vehicles. After 6 months, not all the stores were doing well. He also had this flexibility that, okay, I constantly mention this thing. Okay, I'm sending in some machines back. I'm like, we're more than happy. You can give it back. We'll deploy somewhere else. But the other businesses started to grow. It's like within a month, he comes like, Abhishek, are those vehicles still there? It's like, those are not there, but still there are more. He went back to the 25. So there has been a play between 20 to 30, and this is a single individual who has three customers. Then one of our early customers, and I had met this company, and I'm like, I would like to mention them, the Hariom Atta Chakki. It's an Atta Chakki in Dwarka, and over the years, we've been servicing them. They've been carrying heavy load. These are Atta Chakkis, masala and everything. They've been doing delivery, all those spaces. Because of the services that we've been able to carry on, we get a call. Like sometimes I get, or some of the teams, we are starting off a new branch, and so please ensure that the vehicle is there on the inauguration day. So it's gone as like if a Hariom Atta Chakki store is opening up, there is an EV scooter standing next to it on the opening day.
Mm.
It's sort of become kind of a ritual. They're growing that they've gone to some 27, 30 stores now.
Yeah.
And every time they open a store, there's a, "Acha, we're starting a new branch. Can you send in a new vehicle over there?" So it's like it gets into the level where your vehicle has not reached. Tomorrow is my inauguration.
Yeah.
So they have been growing and they've been taking more vehicles and they've opened up a franchise system. But this kind of support that we've been able to do, they believe in this kind of a customer trust and belief really helps, motivates you a lot.
Perfect. Yeah, and that's very great to hear these stories. I think the like actual impact created on ground as well. I'm glad that you shared that. Okay, final couple of questions, and the next two is like common ones that we ask, like asking everyone towards the end of the podcast. Right, one is first is about education and how it's changing, and how and your views on it, your thoughts on it. Moving from more of like a theoretical, traditional way to like an interactive, like a quick learning sort of dialogue based education, experience based education, right, and those sort of terms. So the first part of the question is, how important do you think interaction is in the form of education, right? And maybe a couple of instances in your life where you had this sort of an interactive engagement, but that led to like a lot of education and you learning a lot of things. So your thoughts on that?
So I guess fortunately I'm from a design school. So the way they teach is learning by doing.
Mm,
Like we don't have books. I mean, there are a lot of books that you have to read, but we don't have a curriculum or sort of a books based, chapter based curriculum. So I guess I was very fortunate to be part of a design school where there are no books, there are no exams,
mm,
but every day is an exam.
mm,
All that you make is open to a public jury. So there are days when all whatever projects you have done, that's I guess that's the greatness of my alma mater, is that whatever work that you have done is displayed to everyone.
mm.
Don't write in a closed answer sheet. Your work is out there for everyone to come and see and suggest and criticize and you know make fun of it and also enjoy it. So like because like on a jury day or a day before jury when everyone is putting up their display, your entire batch is there. Someone like me who might not have a great aesthetic sense or something sort of space might just come over there with a packet of chai for everyone because they're working for it.
Yeah,
So I guess that is the collaborative effort that I have learned from my education, is that what we are trying to apply over here as well with all our business partners. So if there is a person who's giving me a great service on charger, I've been promoting him to every single manufacturer that I go to him. If you can give me his charger because I'm getting a better service.
mm,
So that is where I think the learning space where it's just not going and writing down notes and then copying it over there. It is very important that students in the newer times take experiential roles and do participate in these kind of workshops and spaces where they can interact, find their talent, explore others talent, because once you meet your peer it's just not always about competition. And I sometimes go and take a few sessions and teach, and I always tell people, and this is my constant advice to everyone: giving help is great, but I think if you can ask for help, that's the most important thing.
yeah,
Asking for help is even better.
yeah. Perfect. Yeah, awesome. Cool. One final question, and like just a fun question to sort of wrap up, right? Which is, if you could go back to college and do something differently, what would that be? And again, two different cases. One is if you could go back to your first year of college, what would you do differently? And other cases, if you go back to your final year of college. And then we'll start off with first year.
I guess I would pay a lot more attention into the visual sense. Um, I personally feel that my expression of visual sense is my visual sense is great, but my expression is not so great. So there's are motor skills that were taught, and I knew because of some of smart moves I skipped those those grading spaces, and I guess I was amongst the lowest scorers also as well. But yeah, given a chance on that. Some of the best teachers in the country of who knew color, who knew line, and how you do gestalt and all, have taught me. And unfortunately, they're not there. But yeah, if I get a chance to sit along with them once again and redo those sessions, which would help me develop my motor skills much more better, I would see that would have worked better. However, I guess this is what I would also say. This is what your teacher does to you. They identified it on day one that I don't have it. They never made me conscious of my motor skills, but always ensured that my skills of, systems level understanding and setting up the process is much more better. All my, interactions and discussions and feedbacks were all around how do you see it in a systems format.
Mm.
Even a single page color diagram or color wheel was always explained to me as a systems diagram, like how different kind of people will come in, how the transition will happen,
Mm.
not that how a hue or a tone will change, not on that. So I think that's the best part of the teachers. But yes, I still want to improve my motor skills.
Perfect. Anything else? Anything different for final year that you would do differently?
I guess the final year we were in the rocket ship.
Mm.
This is something that I'm very happy. I mean, from this, if I talk about the education part of it, that I had figured it out what exactly to do.
Mm.
Might be I was not so articulate or not so sensible, like how I lost the jail project because of some difficulty in the articulation and the way the project was proposal was sent. Had I been a little more, diligent and read it and nicely, not all on key baat ho gayi hai. So I guess those few nicks and knacks. But I think in the final year, I guess we were all sitting on the rocket ship and we were all taking it off. So guess all of us were very, very strategically focused on the kind of things we want to achieve.
Perfect. Awesome. Yeah. Yeah, that brings us to the end of all our questions. Thank you so much, Abhishek, for doing this with us. I think very insightful, a very comprehensive deep dive, not just into like your startup and covered all the elements there, but also like in general from your journey and other things, a lot of things to take back. So yeah, thank you so much for agreeing to do this with us. It was very insightful chat.
Super. Great talking to you.